Good evening, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero with a quick little weekend outlook forecast. And it's going to be kind of a split weekend, and the weather story is starting tonight. So let's head straight to the weather data and let's start taking a look here. All right. So we're starting just taking a look at the radar. Let me put this in motion here. And we're seeing a bit of a mix here where we kind of have this freezing line. I'll draw the line right about here. Kind of right where the freezing line is at the moment. And that's where we have to the south of there a lot of heavy rain. The north of there, some mixing, some bursts of some brief but heavy snow. And this is going to continue through most of the night with all the rain up there, or the snow to rain, and then the rain down here. That's on the radar picture. Now let's start taking a look at some weather maps as well. But actually, first, let's take a look at the weather story. So one of the key things I wanted to highlight here was this. Heavy rain for city and the coast. 1 to 1.5 inches of rain is expected out of this. Yes, we could see a wintry mix more interior of 1 to 2 inches, so not much in terms of snow, but it looks like we could still see some measurable snow. However, I don't expect any of this to be sticking around through tomorrow, because once any snow comes, it's going to be washed away by all of the heavy rain that's going to be coming through. So snow, not really a big issue. It's going to be a bit more of this minor to moderate coastal flooding, 1.5 to 2 feet of water above ground based from coastline flooding, and total 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Another thing for concern, easterly winds 20 to 30. This is sustained winds, 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour for any city coastline area. Midnight to 8 a.m. That's where the heart of that system is going to be coming through. And it is also saying gusts up to 50 miles per hour will be possible. Isolated down tree branches and power lines. So I would say take precautions tonight in terms of any power outage preparation that you may have in place already. Like extra batteries, make sure you charge everything up to 100% overnight. All the things like that. All right, so that's the weather story. Now, I'm just going to take a quick peek here on the radar. Satellite. On the satellite here for water vapor imagery that I wanted to bring up. This is, as we call, the big shrimp or the Kamaku. Right there, that means it's a very healthy system. But we are getting what's called dry slotting happening. So we have the counterclockwise rotation in the northern hemisphere. And with that counterclockwise rotation, we have a lot of moisture. And a lot of it right now is still over the tri-state region. But all this orange and yellow, that's dry air. And look at this kind of being sucked into the center of the low. When it's being sucked into the center of the low like that, that's going to start basically choking the system. So although it was a fairly healthy system, we could start seeing the system begin to choke. And when that happens, it's going to start to deteriorate. Also, usually with overnight storms, when you lose the energy source, the sun is the source for weather. When you take that energy source away, you're going to start seeing a degradation in the storm itself. All right, so there it is on the surface analysis. Quite an intense system. This looks like 980. No, there we go. 976, I believe. That says millibar. That's a decently strong system. And, ooh, I missed. Where's the radar? There's the bigger radar. All right, so on here, we're kind of seeing this line up with the satellite, where we have quite a line here. It's a short but intense line on the back end of the front there. And we have some bands of heavy rain and some snow. This won't show snow on this particular radar. But you can also see kind of around the center of the low, it's starting to looks like break up. And my guess is the breaking up is happening because of this dry slot. It's sucking in dry air. All right. So now, let's take a brief look at some of the forecast models here. And this is going to be the GFS on the good old tropical tidbits. And it's kind of starting off what I was saying, where we might see that line there, the freezing line, starting off as some wintry mix or just snow. But then very quickly it turns to heavy rain. This is 1 a.m. tonight. And there's that harsh line between heavy rain and the heavy snow. So yes, you could see some more higher totals a bit more north. But it's also a bit questionable based on last week's system where we saw the forecast models putting out quite a bit of snow more north, but that didn't happen. So this, again, we're going to have to be cautious with, but either way, there's going to be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, the liquid equivalent. So I would say be prepared for flooding for the most part, along with those strong winds. And then by the time we wake up or you start getting out and about, 7 a.m., it's pretty much off the coast. The center of the low is still in the area, but most of the moisture is out. And then it kind of lingers around a little bit throughout the rest of the day on Saturday. But Sunday, we have a high pressure come in. This is showing on the GFS here what looks like some maybe, potentially this could be still wraparound snow from that system. This looks like a bit more lake effect to me, but there's a flurry chance here and there. But overall, it's going to be a much better day on Sunday. It's still going to be cold and it's still going to be breezy, but at least in terms of any precipitation, it's going to be fairly calm. Now let's take a look here on the Euro, and I was already looking at this before. So the start time's pretty much in line. And right there, heavy rain throughout all of New Jersey. The Hudson Valley, very far south, Rockland and Westchester, rain. Then you start getting a bit more north, Orange and Putnam, and a little bit of Sussex County there is going to be potentially, it looks like, some icy conditions. But then it looks like everything pretty much starts to move out fairly quickly by the time we get to 7 a.m. Slight bit slower than the GFS, because at 7 a.m. it's still showing through Massachusetts and even the Boston area there. The wintry mess, I would call that. And then that kind of lingers still around going through the day on Saturday. And then Sunday, it's cold again, but it's not as breezy with those up to 50 mile per hour winds. Still a little bit, but clear. Now, the Euro doesn't show any kind of lake effect or whatever kind of wraparound that could have been. Doesn't show any of that. All right. Taking a look at the icon here, we are on the 120 hour out version, which is the 18Z run. We don't need anything beyond that because we're just looking at the weekend. This again is in line with maybe starting to snow a bit north, going say north of I-87, and then heavy rain for all. So if there is any accumulated snow, it's pretty much going to be washed away. Again, by 7 a.m. time frame there. Low is just off the Long Island coast. Most of the precipitation is out to sea. Still getting some going through eastern Massachusetts, Boston area. And then it starts making its way out later in the day on Saturday. Sunday high comes in. It still looks like it's going to be a little breezy, not as strong of winds though, again. And it also looks like it's going to be fairly clear. All right, so now on the NAM, to rewind that. Now this is, again, slightly different because this is near surface reflectivity, so this is simulated radar versus average precipitation rates. So this is kind of in line there. This was showing, so 7, 8, 9 o'clock. It was starting off as a wintry mix, and I can confirm that where the pink is, that's kind of where I just went outside, and it is sleeting right now. Then the heavy rain starts coming in by 1 a.m. This is definitely going to cause some flooding, especially along the coast. is here we have around the center of the low, winds coming off the ocean. So that's pushing water into the coast. So that's where you're going to have the coastline flooding by water being forced inland, and you're going to have heavy rain. It's just going to combine the two. So definitely prepare for flooding if you're along any kind of coastline. And then that starts making its way out by Saturday morning. And then for Massachusetts area, this is a little bit warmer, so it's mostly showing rain for Boston. Once you get a bit more inland Massachusetts, then it's the wintry mix. But still looks like it's all going to be out by the evening on Saturday. Sunday looks like it's going to be... Now here, the 12-kilometer NAM is showing this. This looks a bit more like lake effect snow from, say, the Finger Lakes or the Great Lakes versus wraparound. But overall, it looks... And that's, again, more north in New York. But overall, it looks like it's going to be a fairly clear day, but just, again, a little breezy and cold. And then the 3-kilometer NAM. Now, this is also showing here, again, 3 kilometers, so much higher resolution. So it's going to look more accurate, but it may not be as precise. This is starting as a wintry mix, which is accurate. And then we get those pockets of heavy rain throughout the overnight, going into tomorrow morning. This is actually fairly quick. Actually, no, it's about the same. Low pressure is just off the coast of Long Island, same spot there. This is definitely warmer where it's showing more rain coming into the coastline regions. Once you get a bit more inland, so more upstate New York and inland Massachusetts there, even going a little bit into northern Connecticut, that's where you're seeing the wintry mix. And then that makes its way out by later in the day on Saturday. Sunday looks like, it's going to be a fairly clear but cold day. And that's, again, this is definitely some sort of lake effect snow kind of happening, it looks like, in there. Doesn't look like much, maybe some flurries here and there, but again, that's mostly for the Finger Lakes region or anywhere that's more upstate in New York. And then that is it for the weekend. Even going into Monday, it kind of looks like it's going to be fine, but still just breezy and cold. All right, and then the very last one we'll take a look at here is going to be the HRRR. Now I have this on the... Let me move this back to 0Z. This should not finished running yet, but that should be enough. All right, so let's see. Starting as wintry mix, staying as wintry mix for a little bit longer here. And then the heavy rain comes in about in line with that 1-2 a.m. time frame. Moves out fairly quickly, so by 7 a.m., there's the low, right about the same spot as the others, just off the coast, or this is just on the coast of Long Island. Heavy precipitations, mostly offshore by then. Mix going through more inland regions. And then it's going to be out by Saturday afternoon. Sunday comes in, and maybe a little bit of lake effect. Again, not much, not as much as some of the other ones. But it looks like it's still going to be a fairly clear day, but it's going to be breezy, not as strong of winds, again, as with this system coming through overnight. But it's going to be cold, too. All right, so that's going to kind of wrap up this video here. So I did just want to give that brief video for the forecast for overnight tonight through Saturday. So I would say if you have anything outside that's not tied down, either tie it down or bring it on inside, because those strong winds are going to be affecting everybody. So do keep that in mind. And then the flooding risk. So keep that also in mind. If you live near the coast, be prepared for flooding. Maybe move your car to a little bit higher elevation place than normal, if possible there. And then with the winds, again, prepare for the possibility of power outages overnight tonight through tomorrow morning. So have those flashlights with extra batteries, charge up all your devices tonight. And then once we get through this bulk of it, overnight tonight through tomorrow morning, it starts to make its way out tomorrow afternoon. And then the second half of your weekend on Sunday, it looks like it's going to be a much better day. It's still going to be a little breezy. It's going to be a little cold, but in terms of precipitation, it's going to be fairly clear. Unless you're a bit more north, near the Finger Lakes in New York or the Great Lakes, you could see some little flurries from lake effect snow, but that's not really going to be a big snow producer. All right, so that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to hit that like button. And if you are new to the channel, you want to get more weather forecasts like this, whether I upload a video like this or I go live, hit that subscribe button below and then hit the little bell icon right next to that. All right, so this is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Have a great rest of your nights. Please stay safe through this, and I will see you all in the next video.